Hello, people of the internet. This is JgPzE100, and today I've got a bit of a review for you, or preview, sort of. Well, now this is why the title of the video is called JgPzE100 Review Preview, sort of, because I'm on the test server here, as you might be able to tell. I haven't all of a sudden, gotten amazing and gotten all these tanks. No, I'm on the test server. And I said to myself, right, I'm going to do a review on a tank that I fairly like during the test server, and I really like the JgPzE100 because it's just such a my type of tank, my style of tank is the big heavy ones that do lots of damage. That's why you'll see the E100, Object 260. Well, I haven't really played with the artillery much, but I've got E100, T110E4, JgPzE100, FEB, FE215B 183. Then surprisingly I got these two, these little Chinese ones, but I really like these Chinese light and medium tanks. I had a very good game in this light tank, got mastery badge and killed tier 9. But that's because everyone uses premium ammo, so, call me a noob, call me whatever, but, if you can use premium ammo, why wouldn't you? It's just one of those things that you do in the test server. So, got my glass of water, which is good, because my mouth gets dry when I do these videos, so take a sip there. So yeah, it's sort of a review preview. I mean, as far as I know, nothing's changed with the JgPzE, and I'll be getting this anyway. I'll be getting the JgPzE100 anyway. I might have it by the end of the year on my, proper normal account where I do everything legit, sort of, because I use free XP and gold, but that doesn't really matter. I'll be getting this anyway, and, the JgPzE100 seems like one of those tanks that just aren't going to change. There's no need for them to change it. So, I'm going to do a review on it. I haven't had that too many games in it, but I've also had a few games in previous test servers as well. I have been playing with some of these other tanks. I quite like the E100 as well, so I may or may not do a review straight after this on the E100. Yeah, so I'm just going to, I don't know, let's see how this turns out. So yeah, so I'm going to start off as always in the garage reviewing this thing. And then I'm gonna go into a good game that I had, which, I have had a very good game in this. Well, you can decide for yourselves. Anyway, so first of all, it's got 2,200 hit points, which is, fairly good for a tank destroyer. I mean, 2,000. It's got at least 200 more than the T110E4. Again, 200 more than the FE215B. And hang on, I do. It has certainly more than the Object 268. So it's definitely on the upper end of the things, of the hit points. But that's because it moves very slowly, as you'll see in the video replay and here. God, it moves so slowly. It's so easy to be outflanked by one of these things. But if you play it correctly, they're not going to get a chance to go around your side because you're just going to fuck off. Right, hang on. It seems to be doing this a lot, so I'm just gonna stop the video here, log back in, and resume. And I'm back. That took about 30 seconds, so yeah. Anyway, so it's good. So it's easy to be outflanked, but you can just decimate anything with this thing. And, you'll see why when I get to this beast of a gun down here. I'm not gonna spoil it yet. And this is the German tank destroyer route is definitely one of the tank destroyer routes I'd go, suggest going down. I mean, I'm at the JgPzE 4 at the moment, and I can't really give much of an opinion between 7, 8, 9, and 10 because I'm only at tier 6. But it's a very good tank destroyer line, and if it results in this thing at the end, it's definitely worth going for. Anyway, so it's its weight is at the moment with everything put on it is 134.64 tons. So it definitely weighs a fucking ton. This thing, well 134 of them to be exact. It weighs quite a lot. So it really doesn't go that fast, and that's why it has this 1,200 horsepower engine. You might think that was fast. If that was fitted on something like the T52, T50-2. T-50-2 if you want to go into all that crap, but if that was fitted on there, it'd go like a bullet, literally. But it needs that, and to be honest, it's got a load limit of 150 tons, and I've got everything that I can possibly have mounted on it. So yeah, speed limit of 30. I've never seen that. Never in a million years seen that speed limit of 30. So don't believe this for a second. I might have seen it going down a hill, or, you know, on a slight down incline, or if I've been driving on the same road for, I don't know, a minute or, I don't know, 30 seconds. You might reach that in 30 seconds. You know, you'll accelerate about a mile, kilometer, 1 mile, 1 kilometer a second. Yeah, that's what you're accelerating at, which is not a lot. If it takes 30 seconds to get there, to get to 30 kilometers an hour, and its traverse speed, even worse. It's 20, I believe, for my driver. Yeah, on my driver I've got clutch braking, which it helps a little bit, but not a terribly large amount. So you definitely want to get some sort of benefits whilst doing this. So it turns slowly, and it's not that fast. But you see, unlike tanks like the Object 268 or, you know, even the T110E4, it's not designed for up close and personal, you know, death battles. I mean, fair enough if it's, you know, your whole team versus 5 guys left on their team, then yeah, fair enough, because, you know, you've got your whole team behind you. You don't even need to be that close, that far away. You can get into skirmishes with this thing, but you will take damage, because if you're going into a skirmish with a light tank or a medium tank, odds are you're going to take damage. They're going to get around the side of you and they're going to kill you, if they know what they're doing, of course. I did have a guy once in one of my games. He was a medium tank. He must have thought he was some sort of heavy tank. He was a T62A, I think. He just drove straight in front of me, stopped in front of me, put a shot into my lower... didn't even shoot my lower glacier, just put a shot, like, right here, which is, you know, the thickest armor, 200mm, which, again, I'll get to in a second. Shot me right there, bounced straight off. I put a shell into him, did about 1,062 damage. I don't know. I have no idea how much a T62A has, but I'm sure it doesn't have that much. Did 1,062 damage to him. And he just sat there. I didn't blow his tracks off. He could have moved. He could have, you know, gone around me. He could have killed me. I was right in the open. He was like the last guy left or something. Or, you know, I wasn't playing to the best of the tank. I mean, best of this tank is probably getting your ass up against a wall where they can't go around the back of you, or staying at a distance and shooting at things at a distance. But that T62A, he just didn't do anything. Just right in front of him, and I reloaded, put another 600 and something. I genuinely have no idea how much the T62A has health has. So. I don't really know how much damage I did, but I killed him in 2 shots, and you can do that with this thing. So yeah, as you can see, so as I said before, it's this part here that has 200mm. This like a little rectangle area here, that's 200mm. This counts as the top of the tank, which is why if you get shot by artillery here, you're gonna have a bad day. And the lower glacis isn't much better. You know, this is a weak spot. It's done it again. I'll be right back. Right, 3rd time lucky, but then look, it'll keep me logged in for longer than 5 minutes. Right, so yeah, so this bit down here is definitely a weak spot. It's probably best to keep that covered up. I mean, if you have to, then you're gonna need to expose it, but you really have to keep this bit covered up, because people will, if they can shoot you here, they will shoot you here, because that's weaker than this 200mm of armor here. If they have a shred of intelligence, which, you know, most people on the, you know, test server don't, because they're all driving tier 10 heavy tanks. Most of them probably haven't even gotten to tier 5, to be perfectly honest. They see tier 10, oh, I'm gonna go there, and the amount of idiots I've seen just shell it straight down the middle, and then, you know, players who do know what they're doing or do have a shred of intelligence just, you know, take the opportunity. But it's idiots on both sides, and it's, you know, whoever has the more intelligent idiots win, I suppose, because that's how the common test works. But if any old idiot can drive a tier 10 heavy tank, or a tier 10 tank at all, any old idiot will drive a tier 10 tank. I mean, if I was to go into the matchmaking now, there will be a few other tiers, but the majority will be in tier 10, because that's what people drive. That's what people want to drive. They, you know, it's why people go on the common test. I have the Leopard 1. I know a lot of people sing praises about it, but it's not my cup of tea. So, you know, I prefer sort of the medium tanks that have a bit of armor, because this thing has no armor. Look here. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, you know, standard shell damage, 788 to 1,313. You will regularly see that whilst using heat shells. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's a fucking lie. What it says right there. That's the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen. Because whilst using this gun, you will regularly see 1,050 damage. Whilst using heat shells, you will regularly penetrate at 420mm, which is ridiculous, because no tank has 420mm. You know, and it's very accurate. Again, you know, all German guns are very accurate, which is why it's best to shoot at things from a distance with this thing. You shouldn't be too close. I mean, 2.7 aiming time, it's all right, but I suppose that's the sort of thing that lets it down. Because if I was to look at it here, it's only got a traverse of about there, either side. It traverses only a little bit on either side. It's probably about firing arc of that. It's really, really narrow. It's not a lot at all. So you'll find quite a lot of the time is if you're not at distance, because as you know that, you know, if you've got an angle here, it's a lot harder to hit something that moves across there than it is to shoot something that moves across there, because the angle, of course, doesn't get bigger, but the space between the two lines, of course, get bigger. So you've got a bit more, you know, chance to shoot things at a distance with this thing, and not that close, because it's, you know, 1 second it's here, next second it's there, you can't shoot it, then you have to turn your hull and go through 2.7 second aiming time. It's not monstrous, it's not, you know, bad, but my foot's gone tingly. It's not a bad amount of aiming time. It's because its traverse is so bad that, you know, you want to be shooting things at a distance where you've got more time to shoot at things. So yeah, that's the gun. It's got a good rate of fire as well. Well, to be honest, I wouldn't call it a great rate of fire, but for the gun that it has, because it does that much, you sort of have to have it balanced. So this is a well-balanced tank. I mean, it has a lot of armor from the front, and even at the sides. I mean, 120 millimeters at the sides. It has better rear armor than side armor. You know, granted, the side armor here is just, you know, fucking flat. It's flat as I was gonna say balls, but then I realized balls aren't flat. Yeah, but this is probably the only angling you're gonna see on this thing. So that's why this thing is so deadly to be flanked around. And again, in, you know, common test, everyone's using you know, premium ammo, which penetrates a monstrous amount, as I've already, you know, as I've already demonstrated. I mean, 420 millimeters of penetration. This is gonna hot knife through butter. Anything is gonna penetrate this, but it's got better armor at the back than it does at the sides. I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but you know, yeah, it's beyond me. So we've already covered the damage and shell penetration. That's bullshit, because it's the gun you want to look at. When you're looking at these credentials here, don't look at it as a tank. Look at it at the gun. Look at the gun, because that's the thing that fires the shell. The tank doesn't fire the shell. It's the gun that, you know, the shell goes down the gun. The shell comes out of the gun. It's the gun that you look at when you're gauging this and this. Wait, can I highlight that? No, I can't. Never mind. Again, rate of fire being over that. Gun traverse 26 degrees. That's degrees per second. That when I say gun traverse, traverse, I mean how big the angle is that you can shoot out of. So it's about that. The gun traverse 26 degrees per second. It's not bad, but again, if you're shooting at distance, you know, people aren't going to be moving 26 degrees per second across your front. You're going to be moving a lot slower, because I'm not going to bother getting into all that sort of math and algebra or shapes or geometry. I don't really care. But it's going to be easier to aim and shoot at someone at a distance with this thing than it is to aim and shoot at someone up close with this thing. Because you literally, unless you're facing directly onto them at close range, you're not really going to hit them. And you turn too slowly to be able to turn round them. You'll get outflanked in this thing a lot if you don't watch what you're doing. And view range is good, I suppose. I mean, 400 meters is the maximum that you can actually see at anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And signal range, pfft, I really want a good signal range. Said no one ever. Apart from people in artillery and light tanks, so I suppose people do say that, but that doesn't really bother me. But yeah, if you really want to know, and you can't read this for yourself, that's 720 meters signal range, and that's 400 meters view range. Right, I'm just going to take a quick drink here. Right, okay, now, on to crew skills. If you can put crew skills on them and you're playing in the common test, or if you are about to get this on the normal test server, or the normal server, I mean, I suggest getting, for a tank destroyer at a high tier that's got this bad speed limit, this bad traverse speed, it's advisable to get repairs. I have camouflage down here because, you know, I want to retain some shred of this is a tank destroyer after all. I want to be able to remain hidden for the majority of the time. And so that's why I've got a camouflage net as well. I want to be able to remain hidden, so I've got 5% for the camo. This adds an extra 25%, and camo adds 34% camo. Oh no, that's crew skill. How far along the crew skill is. So this helps, but mostly you want to be using, you really want to be using repairs, because if you don't use repairs and you get shot and your tracks get blown off, I'd much rather wait, I don't know, 10 seconds to have my tracks repaired than waiting 20 seconds to have my tracks repaired, and then get more shots planted into my side, or have the opportunity for them to shoot my front and rear drive wheel and get my tracks blown off again, or just re-damage them so it takes longer for them to... repairs are the way to go, and especially on things that have poor traverse speed. I've already covered this. Best to have clutch braking for the driver, because it does improve it a substantially large amount. As always, I've got my standard setup of medikit, small repair kit, fire extinguisher. If you don't know why I do it in this specific order, and you'll see on every single tank it's exactly the same, it's because I know that if my driver gets knocked out on this thing, I have to double press 4, which heals my driver. If my tracks get knocked off on this thing, which, you know, getting tracked is probably the biggest cause of, you know, people using a repair kit. You know, your tracks get knocked off more. I don't think I've ever had, I don't know, I don't think I've ever had, I think I've had everything knocked out at some point, but like your viewports, who gives a fuck about viewports? I'm not really bothered if my viewport gets damaged or knocked out. I don't care. The engine, fair enough, but I can't remember what it is. But basically, what happens is that when you click on one of these, when you enter the game, forget all of these at the side here. Apart from this that appears over here, you have this at the bottom. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the bottom, and basically use the keys at the top of your the numbers at the top of your keyboard to select shell type. So 1, 2, 3 is 1 would be armor piercing, 2 would be high explosive anti-tank, 3 would be high explosive. So you press those respectively to load different ammunition. And if you're in the middle of loading this and you double press this, like so if you're in the middle of loading an armor piercing and all of a sudden you say, as you know, I want to load heat, if you double press 2, it'll cancel the loading action of this, so this will just be completely unloaded. He'll stop that and then start reloading this one. So you use the number keys at the top to start to load these, and then you got, so that's 1, 2, 3. This is 4, 5, 6. When you press, so let's say we want to I don't know, repair our engine. So our engine gets knocked out. We have to you press 5 because it's the 5th key along, and it'll say in a little number in the corner 5. You press 5. Now a sub menu is going to open up here. Or, you know, it's on top, but oh well. It's a sub menu that opens up on top, and it's got all the different modules. So it's got your engine, your viewports, your gun, your tracks. I've said that in the right order. It's kind of weird how I know that. I don't know. And then your ammo rack, I think. And those have respective numbers as well. So you would press 5 and then 1 because your engine would be at the front, and they would all have little numbers on the top as well to help you. So anyway, so if I'm in a situation where my tracks get knocked off, to quickly repair my tracks, I know all I have to do is press 5 to open up the menu, 5 again to press the tracks, to select the tracks and repair them. So it's just a case of 5, 5, tracks repaired. Or if my driver gets killed, it's 4, 4. Driver gets healed, because you don't want to have your driver dead in this thing. Having your driver dead is probably worse than having your tracks knocked out, because you move so incredibly slow, you turn so incredibly slow. Also, you know, manual fire extinguisher, just press 6. Sorry, I'm just going to take another drink. Again. So double press 6 to, or just press 6 once, because the fire extinguisher is the exception to this little lineup. You just have to press the fire extinguisher once, which is 6, to extinguish a fire. So if you get in the habit of knowing the muscle memory for these things, so you say, oh, driver's been knocked out, double press 4. Oh, track's been knocked out, double press 5. Oh, I'm on fire, press 6. You know, you get quicker and quicker and quicker at responding to these situations, but it's also a case of knowing when to use them. I mean, if you're in a completely concealed area, you've got, you know, you're in a 3-walled area, you're facing forwards. The only way some guy drives in front of you, knocks your tracks off, drives back behind his little wall. Artillery can't shoot you, and he can only go in front of you. So you don't want to use your repair kit. You got to pick your moments to use repair kits, or your first aid kit doesn't really matter, to be honest. But you want to pick your moments to when to use your repair kit, because you don't want to be tracked and then use a repair kit, but there was no immediate threat. If you get tracked and, you know, you're in the middle of everywhere, there's like 5 tanks all waiting to shoot at you, plus artillery, that's when you use your repair kit, because you don't want to be caught out. Right, anyways, like I said, I was using high explosive anti-tank, so covered all of this. So all of this is good and covered, and that just appears over here and will turn green when you're still, because this activates after about 2 seconds, because you have to be still. It says vehicle is stationary, so you need to be still, and after about 2 seconds this thing activates, which means that you get 25% camouflage bonus, which is good. And that just appears over there, you can't click on it, you can't do anything, so that's completely irrelevant. I'm just letting you know, because that's where it'll appear. Now, this thing doesn't have a turret, so it's irrelevant. The engine, well, actually no, we've been over all of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, I suggest whilst using this thing, and I've only really recently got into a habit of doing this myself, whilst using this machine, it's good to so basically, if there's a guy, let's say the door is the guy we want to shoot at, take your shot at him, and then turn your tank like that a little bit. So basically, he'll be shooting here, so he's either gonna hit here, which is, you know, well armored, 120 millimeters as it is, and it's at an angle, or he's gonna shoot this, which is 200 millimeters and is at a downward angle and it's vertical and horizontal angle. I only do this occasionally. I really need to do it a bit more. I'm sort of getting into the habit of managing my weak spots a bit better, but you know. Yeah, so that concludes the theory part. I'm sorry if I've been a little bit dull, you know, long day at school, yada yada yada, all that crap. You know, sorry if I've waffled on a little bit about different things. I do apologise for that. I'm trying to cut down on that, trying to not say and ah and e or poo or whatever, I don't care. I've been trying to cut down on saying that, and I think I've been a lot better recently. So yeah, that concludes the theory portion. We're now going to move on to the video portion, and I shall be right back with the video. So, we're back, on the, yeah, this is the game that I had, with the JgPzE100. I believe this is Serene Coast. I could be completely wrong. I really haven't paid much attention to the maps. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a look-see at exactly how this thing performs. Now, one thing I think I forgot to mention in the actual review is these parts here. If you ever encounter a JgPzE100, despite contrary belief, shoot it there. Just depending on what gun you're using, and of course whether or not you're using premium ammo. But generally, shoot it there, and you will do damage. That's the best place, in my opinion, to shoot a JgPzE100. I don't know why, but it just is. So yeah, I'm going down the same route that I generally always tend to go, and this was a good game for me, I think. I can't remember it too much, because this video is actually done a few days later. 8.5, I think, is actually out now, so apologies for the late outputting of this video. So yeah, I can't remember the game too well, but I believe I did very well, or moderately well. And you can lead a charge with this, depending on the opposition and who you're charging against. If you're charging against something like, I don't know, the Leopard 1 or an E50M, or maybe just a heavy tank, more often than others, you will do quite well. It is very circumstantial who you're charging against, because it does have monstrously good frontal armor, which is angled as well. So yeah, so I think this is where I start trying to help out my friends here. And you're just about to see exactly how much. You can't really see it very well, but I think that was 1,065 damage from one shot. So I think, to be honest, in an average game, if you weren't firing high explosive anti-tank, so premium ammo, you might see 1,000 if you're shooting against lower tier tanks. The reason why I love the the reason why I love the JgPzE so much is because of its monstrous amount of damage and armor. You could say it's the same as the fucking, what do you call it? Other tier 10, the British one. I completely forgot what it's called. The FV215B183. That's it. You could you could argue that it's the same concept, but I don't know. It just feels like this one does more damage, and when you're firing HESH, it seems to do less damage than heat. this point I'm just sort of thinking to myself, right, well, those guys aren't doing too well over there, but they actually do. They do play a very good game, and they manage to hold them off. So, anticipating an attack on this flank, I decided to start moving backwards. Turns out they didn't actually make much of a push. The enemy team were not stupid. I mean, they had good players, from what I could tell. It's just, I think they, once I'd been despotted, they just, I don't know, they just seem to forget about me, and I suppose that's something that you can't really forget whilst you're playing a tier 10 game or higher tier game. So cool 911 that I did there, which is, by the way, which is quite good, and you will see 900 appear a lot on your screen. Just generally playing this tank, you don't really need much. It doesn't take much to take things out in 2 shots. And I fired there. I was mashing my mouse button, as I tend to do for some reason. For whatever reason, lately I've been mashing my button just like a fucking maniac, and I end up firing shots, and it cost me. But that's a bad habit and something I've got to get used to. So I'm not sure, but I think I one-shot this guy, or at least take him down to a very low health. But I can't remember. Oh, there we go, 891. So I know I took him down to, you know, low health for a tier 10. And the E100 with his turret turned to the back of me and his side showing me, showing his side to me. That is something that you just can't ask for. And I can't remember. I think I knew where this IS-4 was, and you know, I think at this point I sort of pull back and I realised, oh shit, he's there. I wasn't sure if I was paying attention to my minimap or not. Again, like I said, I can't remember. So I'm fairly confident at this point that, you know, that E100 was killed, and like I said, those guys over there who held that corner, they were easily outmatched. But they played a very good game, and I'm pretty confident at this point, whilst driving in JgPzE100, you will one-shot people. But when people are down to, you know, 300, 400, maybe 500, 600 health, you know, you don't really, and if you're on full health, especially whilst driving this thing, you don't really need to worry too much about taking another hit in the sides. I mean, if you get tracked, use a repair kit, just keep going for them, because you will take them out in one shot. There's no doubt about it. And again, there's that consistently high damage that this thing does. I mean, you only need to penetrate him, and then it's up to the random number generator. And I'm sorry if I keep rubbing the mic, I'm drinking some tea. And I'm very thirsty. So yeah, you might have noticed that I only have 1 kill this game. I think I've got the stats or the results of this game saved on a screen cap, so I'll put that at the end of this video. Yeah, I'll try and put this at the end of the video, because I think I did quite well. And the IS-7 tries to run away. You know, fair play to him, he tried to run away, but I wasn't going to miss. So that's 2 kills. The E100 played a very good game, 4 kills. But then again, for all I know, they could have only been like on 36, you know, 50 health each, and he was just the cleanup guy. I know I've played quite a lot of games where, this is the same sort of situation. Well, if you're in a JgPzE100 and you kill someone on 300 health in one shot, that's the same as an IS-7 or a E100 killing someone who is on 36 health. But the E100 has the best gun on the E100 is monstrous. It's more of a tank destroyer than it is a heavy tank. I mean, it's more well armoured, slower, I think, slower than most tank destroyers, and it's got a fucking turret. But when you fire high explosive anti-tank with that beast of a gun, you will do 800 damage to people at a time. If you're lucky and the random number generator is nice to you that day, you'll easily get maybe 1,000 damage if you're lucky. But I love the E100, and I'm very glad that I'm going towards it with the Tiger. So yeah, I'm on 3 kills at the moment, and I think I was training off from a thought I had earlier, but I can't remember what that was now. But 3 kills, quite a bit of damage done. I think it was 3,000 damage done, roughly. So yeah, maybe more. Might have been 3,000–4,000 damage. So all that's left is artillery, and he's just killed someone, and artillery is generally always the last person left in these high tier games. And I think I kill him. I want to say I kill him, but like I said, I genuinely cannot remember. I definitely come top in the game. And I haven't, if you'll notice, I haven't taken a single point of damage. Everything's just bounced off. Like, my tracks aren't damaged, nothing is damaged. Everything is just bounced off. If I show you the front, it's just little scuffs everywhere. I think that one penetrated. It's probably flying high premium ammo, but you gotta expect that from the test server. There's more fucking gold flying around in the air than there is in Gringotts in a fucking premium gold in a test server game. But yeah, it's just scuffs on the front, and it's like you will see that. That's all you're really gonna see. And at this point, I'm sort of like, nah, my squad crap. There's no point trying to go after the artillery. He's all the way over there, and I'm too slow. This was definitely one of the better examples of a JgPzE100 game that I played, and I'm proud of it. I like it. I like the JgPzE100. So yeah, so that has been the JgPzE100 review. Rate, comment, subscribe, as every other fucking channel says. But yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, and see you next video, or see you when I see you.